everyone. Cerise here from CeriseFairfax.com. Today, I have you here with my good friend, Dion. I love her, an awesome spirit, just a great being. And I chose experiences that touch the soul. And some of them you would have also experienced as well. You will notice on this show, I'm not just bringing people on who has seen a ghost or who have did a seance. And it's not about that spooky stuff. It's not about crazy, scary, satanic, demonic stuff. Absolutely not. It's about the spirit. It's about searching from within, being able to still keep in contact with our ancestors, keep in contact with the ones who we have loved during this lifetime, during this journey, and be able to understand that there's communication still available and possible. So today I have Dion. Dion, say hello to our listeners.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone.
Okay, now you might be able to tell, if not from her voice and from the description of the show, she has lost a young son. Young husband. The reason why is because she's also young. Under 40, you're closer to 30. Let's say mid 30s.
38. Yeah.
He was 38.
Yeah.
Okay, so very young, and let's just kind of go into exactly what happened, his rare illness, how he passed, and you just take us through everything.
Okay. I'll give it in a nutshell. He was diagnosed almost 5 years ago with a condition called scleroderma. Scleroderma it's an autoimmune rheumatoid chronic disease that affects both like all of your connective tissues. So it really started to, over time, affect his quality of life because, you can't speak as much, you can't walk as much. Eating became a problem. Your skin is a problem. So all your organs are pretty much shutting down on you because it's the hardening of everything, right? So about 5 years ago, regular routine, we're going to check up because he had some sinus issues. At least that's what we thought it was. And it went from a regular routine to the doctor saying, hey, your breathing sounds a little heavy. Let's go check you out. And that went to a ECG or ECG. I always say it wrong. But from that test, we were being rushed to the hospital. And he was drained about 2 liters almost from around his heart, had fluid. So that day they diagnosed him with scleroderma when they realized that all his arteries were hardening and his heart wasn't pumping a certain way and his body was already doing all kinds of things on the inside that we couldn't see on the outside yet, except that he was tired or you might notice that maybe his eyes might be a little bit, dilated right now because he's feeling sleepy. But that's all we really noticed, right? So from then it turned into a real full-blown thing. It was aggressive. His version was aggressive, unfortunately. We did find out that when they diagnose people with scleroderma, you can live up to 10 to 20 years, but your quality of life starts to change after about 7 to 10 years. And for him, his was very aggressive. So they didn't expect that in the following year he wasn't able to work anymore. And all these things started happening even before him passing, I'd say. Like, you're talking about paranormal, but in a sense, we have a connection with the afterlife even before we pass because he was getting more connected to passing. He was really preparing me for him passing. I didn't want to accept that. But in that process, he would say things like, when I'm on the other side, I'm going to do a lot for you, like stuff like that. And we would joke about it because that was our reality, unfortunately. It would sound dark to other people, but our reality was his condition had an end at some point. Even though we were pushing to be healthy and cleanse his body, there was so much more happening, deteriorating him than we could fix from the other angle. I do believe if we knew earlier, maybe we could make a difference. But at that point, he was just saying, hey, man, I know I'm leaving. And at a year point, I would say paranormal things happened before he passed because of his connection with knowing he was passing. He would say things like this, like he'd say, Mom's going to get here soon. And he wasn't that guy before,
Right.
and all of a sudden he would sense these things. The energies were just really strong for him.
And his mom would show up.
And she would show up.
Mm-hmm.
She would show up, like within like 10, 15 minutes show up. And yes, you know, when it comes to family visiting, we know who's coming, but it just the sensitivity that he had changed. He would even tell me, don't talk to this person this today because the energy feels off. Like he wouldn't talk like that before, but he would get very specific now, you know?
Right. He would be one with his spirit. Let me just digress for 1 second. Let me just go back.
Yeah.
Let's just rewind for a second. When you said it was kind of like a dark to prepare and to talk about the afterlife after he passed on, and then you were saying that he wasn't making deals with you necessarily, but he was just telling you, I'm going to look out for you.
Yeah, he was saying,
I'm looking out for you, and I really am going to continue to look out for you. I know what you need. I'm here with you now, and I'll know exactly what I need to do on the other side. So his focus was to get over there and say, hey, I'm here now. I'm going to help you from the other side. I don't think that's dark. I think that's actually amazing that you as a wife could say, all right, okay, and be able to embrace that and be able to feel like, yeah, I got this. Tell me how you're going to do this. Did you guys have some type of a communication with each other?
You talking about after he's passed? Yeah. We did have communication after he passed by way of, first it started with songs, with music. And apart from speaking to you, but it developed more into music and the Wi-Fi. Anytime our internet got affected, I had to go and fix it, and that was his room where the Wi-Fi was. And then there was always this energy. It still is. There is an energy when you go in there. And I would use that time to just talk or sing, and I would feel a presence that would respond. That's where I'm at now, actually. I'm comforted by that, really, knowing that his energy is there, or that I can communicate with him freely in that way without feeling like I need a barrier. Does that answer your question, though? You were asking.
Yeah, it definitely does. Now, you go back to what you were saying. I had cut you off in mid-sentence. I just wanted to kind of...
Oh, like him having premonitions of him, like he was preparing me prior to going. But I want to go forward, though, past that. Like, after he passed, the things that happened prior to him passing, he was connecting for me. Like, he had said to me, you know, he wanted me to just be free, like just to live my life. And I wasn't accepting any of that because someone being ill, I just took that as him pushing me away, right? But now I see what he meant, you know, like I lived my life so much for him and for our relationship that I didn't know what it meant to just be free. Like when he was talking all of that, trying to prepare me for being alone, I get it more so now, and that's in being alone and him sending messages to me and saying, see, you can go here, you can do this thing. And I don't know, sometimes I have moments where I'm like, is it me talking to myself? And then I get a double confirmation. Like, example, yesterday I was so down in a sense, thinking about him. The word's not down. I was just thinking about him, and I was really starting to miss his presence and the conversations that we would have. Because I don't get to talk a certain way with him, with certain people. And so all of a sudden, his one good friend, that the only guy that he speaks about these particular topics with, pops up at my door. So I was like, what are you doing here? This is really weird, you know? And he said, I don't know, because I was just driving. I was passing by your street, and I thought, let me just pop in. I don't know, maybe I need to see this girl. And we had a good, long conversation about specifically what it is I felt that I wanted to talk about in that moment. And I knew that had to be Stephen, or that energy of him kind of giving me that nudge of what I wanted in that moment. So I appreciate those kinds of connections. I don't know if you consider that paranormal, but it definitely is a spiritual connection and communication that we still have.
You know, I consider that paranormal completely. First of all, 100% yes, just to answer that question. I do consider it paranormal because paranormal really has to do with the spirit, the essence of
Okay.
who someone is, and without the character, without well, obviously there's still the imprint of the character, because at certain times he would present himself and you would be like, yep, that's Stephen, where you would use his character as a reference.
Mm-hmm.
However, aside from that, paranormal is where you can even feel a presence, a scent. You could even be sitting there and smell something. You could be all alone in the room, not even outside. All of a sudden, there's a scent, and it doesn't have to smell bad. Like it could be a cologne where you're like, or a perfume. Or paranormal is, I think, sometimes to one's judgment, what they have experienced and what they consider a visit from their loved one. And now poltergeist, for instance, is a spirit that lifts things and throws them. And sometimes it can just be something demonic, or sometimes it's just maybe trying to really get your attention, because there's a message that really has to be given, and you got to get out of where you're at thing, right? Whether it's a relationship or a building that you're in. So there's all these different things. But you see, Stephen, what you and Stephen had was a connection, a spiritual connection. Can you just let the listeners know how long you guys were together and what age you were when you met? Because we know that he was 38 when he passed, which was just 2017, in December 2017, right?
Yeah, we met in August of 2001, physically. We met. It's funny. We actually met online in the new age of internet back then.
Was it Black Planet?
On Black Planet in 2000. I kid you not. We met on Black Planet, and it wasn't for love. I was looking for an engineer, and he was getting into music. So we were friends, just like online, random though, like not consistent friends. And then one random day, I was bored, he was bored. We were talking on MSN. I was making him laugh, apparently, so hard that he was like, yo, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know, let's go watch a movie. And since that day, we have seen each other. We've been together since then. So, yeah, 2001.
Right.
We got married 2004.
Okay, 2004.
Yeah, so we were married for about 13 years.
Right. And you guys were together every single day.
Almost every single day. I think actually I could count on my hands. Any vacation I took alone was the only time I spent away from him.
Okay.
That was in like a week here, a week there. That's about it. But yeah.
Okay. So, and now he's gone, and you're younger than him, obviously, and like 4 years younger. No, 4 years younger than
3 years. 3 years.
3 years. Okay. Yeah. So you are still so young yourself.
Yeah,
and 34.
35.
35. All right, he's 38. So just let's put everyone in the mindset right now of like 4 months ago, going on 5 months. So let that settle for a minute with everyone. Maybe they are not doing the numbers, or, I mean, obviously this is going to be up on YouTube, and I'm not going to take it down. Obviously, I don't take any videos down anywhere necessarily, especially when it comes to the topic, something of this nature, very serious and very real. And they might listen to it in 2020. So I don't want them to feel like, oh, they don't have the times right or whatever. It was only 5 months ago. 4 months, let's keep it real. That Stephen has been gone. And so let's bring us to your mindset, like the acceptance, the sleeping alone, the
roller coaster of it all.
Yeah.
I'll start with the fact that I know that when you lose someone and it's unexpected, I get that there's no way you can just accept it right away. For me, it was slightly different because we knew he was sick, but we did not expect him passing so quickly. It was just aggressive. I think for me, in all my honesty, is I'm still going through it. I'm still in my phases. I just have moments that it's good and moments that I have to work through. And when I say work through, I don't have a heavy grieving. There's some people who may grieve in a heavy, wailing and regretful kind of way. I did 110% of what I could have when we were together, when he was ill, down to the last moment of him passing. I was at his side, held his hand, the whole process. So that for me allowed me not to grieve a certain way, because I'm able, when I cry and miss him, I remember that his very last day when we were trying to keep him warm, I was the one holding him. We got to hold each other. I got to tell him I love him. He got to tell me he loved me. You know what I mean? So those things that people sometimes grieve for wishing they didn't get to do, I'm grateful that I didn't go through that. So it being fresh and having that memory is more of it's a good thing for me, because I can't even imagine what a regretful morning would feel like. But it's hard. I'm not going to act like it's easy. People say things like this to me: it'll get easier with time. And this is the jaded side of me, by the way. I say, no, it doesn't. It doesn't get easier with time. Death is not something to get over. It's part of life, right? We're living with it, accepting it. Even the words accepting, I'll deal with that. But even accepting it is kind of off, because whether or not you accept it, it's part of life, right? So you have to look at it as this. We transition, but you're living. And I'm looking at death as a positive now, not necessarily as a negative. And not to say I want to kill myself. Don't think it's a negative like that. But just like death is a beautiful thing, because exactly right. And you get what I'm saying, right? Like you live
100%. Like you were saying that it might sound jaded, but you know what? I can see where some people, if they took on that mindset, they may sound jaded if they look at it differently. But the way you're saying it, you sound free. You sound like you let go. You sound like you understand he had his journey and he did what he had to do. You know where he's at right now. As I'm saying this to you, as I'm speaking this to you, let me see if I can put my cell phone up and send you. A sunshine is coming into my window. Wow. Let me see if I can take a picture with my cell phone. And it's right over the aloe. I'll send it to you later. But, because the sun is beautiful. It represents energy. It represents life. And we're talking about him. And the sun's coming right to the window. And it's showing that he is present and clear right now. He knows that we're talking about him. He knows that he's the topic right now. And as you know, before we even put the show on, there was some technical difficulties. And I'm like, what's going on? And you're like, it's Stephen.
Yeah.
It's Stephen. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what's going on? And you're like, it's just him. It's his ego. He's like, I know you guys are going to be talking about me.
It's true. His mantra also confirms, like, our connection. Because before he passed, he had a mantra, which is called I Live Life. And well, I'll just say it quickly. It goes, I live life for love, with love, while in love, to gain love, health, wealth, and prosperity abundantly from the bottom of my heart.